All right, so when you think German super sedan, what comes to mind? For pretty much everyone, it's the BMW M5 and the Mercedes C63 AMG, right? They just own the conversation. But what if there was another player? A kind of forgotten hero. A car with a twin-turbo V8, all-wheel drive, and all the luxury, but for way, way less money. Yeah, you heard me. Today, we're diving into the wild case of the 2013 to 2018 Audi S6.
The very first thing that jumps out at you is the price. I mean, just look at that. A used S6 from this era is so much cheaper than its rivals. We're talking about a car that can hang with the big dogs performance-wise, but leaves a serious amount of cash in your wallet. And this slide right here is exactly why this car is on every enthusiast radar. The question is it too good to be true? And just look at what you get for that money. You've got this beautiful 4.0-liter twin-turbo V8 pushing out a solid 420 horsepower. That's hooked up to a super-quick 7-speed S-Tronic dual-clutch transmission. The shifts are just instantaneous. And of course, you get Audi's legendary Quattro all-wheel drive, so you've got grip for days. On paper, this thing is an absolute monster.
But you know what's really cool about the S6? It's its personality. The M5 and the E63 kind of shout about how fast they are. The S6, it whispers. This is the ultimate sleeper sedan. It's got some subtle S-line styling, sure, but to most people, it's just a really nice-looking Audi. You can fly completely under the radar in this thing.
And this chart just says it all, doesn't it? These cars started out at over 70, sometimes over 80 grand, and they have just plummeted in value. You can now get into one for somewhere between $22,000 and $38,000. I mean, think about that. That is an insane amount of performance and luxury for the price of what? A new Honda Civic?
So all of this brings us to the big question. You've got the power, you've got the all-wheel drive, you've got the stealthy looks, and you've got that bargain basement price. All the ingredients are here. Could this really be the perfect used super sedan? Well, like with all things that seem too good to be true, it's a little complicated.
And here's the plot twist. That amazing twin-turbo V8, it actually shares its basic design, its core architecture, with the engine used in the Bentley Continental GT from the same time period. Now that sounds awesome, right? Super prestigious. But it also means you're dealing with Bentley-level complexity and, yeah, you guessed it, Bentley-adjacent repair costs.
So this is where we get into the nuts and bolts. You have to understand what you're signing up for. Let's start with the heart of this beast and break down the potential high costs of that incredible but very complex V8 engine. Okay, the number one most common complaint with this 4.0T engine is the PCV valve and oil separator. It's part of the engine's breathing system, and when it fails, it creates way too much pressure inside the engine. You might hear this crazy whistling sound. And worse, it can actually blow out expensive engine seals. It's a super well-known issue. And to fix that super common failure, you're looking at about $1,000. And that's really just the first of several four-figure repair bills you need to be ready for. Next up, carbon buildup. Because this is a direct injection engine, fuel is sprayed right into the cylinder, which is great for power and efficiency. The downside? The fuel never sprays over the intake valves to keep them clean. So over time, they get caked in carbon gunk, and that just strangles the engine's performance. It needs a special cleaning, called walnut blasting, every 40 to 60,000 miles. And that essential cleaning service is going to set you back around $1,400. And let's be clear, this isn't an if situation, it's a when situation. You have to do it to keep the engine healthy. Now we're getting into the really serious stuff. See, this engine has what's called a hot V design. The turbos are nestled right there inside the V of the engine. It's a clever design for performance, but man, does it trap a ton of heat. And that intense heat, over time, can just cook the little actuators that control the turbo wastegates. So what happens if both of those turbo wastegates give up? You could be staring down a repair bill of up to $5,000. And this is where that incredible bargain price starts to feel a little less like a bargain.
And maybe the scariest one of all, especially on cars with higher mileage, is the timing chain tensioners. You'll know you have a problem if you hear a nasty metallic rattle for a few seconds when you start the car cold. Fixing this is a nightmare. It's a full engine-out job, and the labor costs are astronomical.
And the price tag for that timing chain job? Yep, another potential $5,000 bill. And the fun doesn't stop there. This engine can also have failing oil cooler lines, water pumps, valve cover gaskets. You're talking another $1,000 here, another $1,000 there. All of a sudden, you're looking at potential repairs that could easily cost half of what you paid for the car itself. So let's keep going, because the potential for big bills doesn't just stop with the engine. The incredibly complex drivetrain and suspension systems, oh yeah, they've got their own list of expensive weak spots.
The S6 uses this really advanced 7-speed dual-clutch transmission, and the brain of that transmission is a super complex part called the mechatronic unit. It's what tells the gearbox how and when to shift. The problem is, on higher mileage cars, this unit is a known failure point. It can lead to jerky shifts, getting stuck in gear, or the whole transmission just giving up.
And here we go, our biggest number yet. To replace that mechatronic unit, you could be looking at a bill of up to $6,000. And if the previous owner skipped the mandatory fluid changes every 40,000 miles, you're pretty much guaranteeing you'll be paying this bill sooner rather than later.
And finally, we have the adaptive air suspension. Now, it gives the car a fantastic smooth ride, but those rubber air struts, they're basically a wear item, like tires or brakes. They are guaranteed to develop leaks over time. When they do, the air compressor has to run nonstop to try and keep up, until it just burns itself out. You'll walk out to your car one morning and see one corner just sagging on the ground.
And to replace one of those failed air struts, it can cost up to $3,000. And let me repeat that, that's for one corner of the car. Now add in some worn-out control arm bushings and a full brake job, and you can easily drop another $5,000 just keeping the car on the road.
Okay, I know. That was a terrifying list of very, very expensive problems. But it doesn't mean you should just run for the hills. It just means you have to be smart. So let's stop talking about the problems and start talking about the solution. How do you navigate all these risks to find the genuine bargain that is definitely out there?
Here's your game plan. It's simple. Number 1, service records are everything. They are not optional. You absolutely must see proof that those dual-clutch transmission fluid services have been done on time. 2, you have to get a pre-purchase inspection from an independent Audi specialist, not just any mechanic. They'll know exactly where to look for air suspension leaks, and they'll know that telltale sound of a timing chain rattle. And 3, you got to be honest with yourself about the budget. You need to plan on having $3,000 to $5,000 a year, every year, for maintenance and repairs. This is a cheap car to buy, not a cheap car to own.
So here's the bottom line. There are really two kinds of used Audi S6s for sale. You've got the Smart Buy, a car that's been loved with a thick stack of service records that proves all the major stuff has been taken care of. And then you've got the expensive surprise, a car with a mystery history that will very quickly turn your dream bargain into a financial nightmare. Your only job is to figure out which one you're looking at.
So, is the 2013 to 2018 Audi S6 a buy or a buy? It is a huge, resounding maybe. Look, if you do your homework, if you find the right car with the right history, and if you have the budget to maintain it properly, it is an absolutely incredible, unbelievable performance sedan bargain. But if you roll the dice on a car with a shady past, I can almost guarantee it will become one of the most expensive mistakes you ever make. The perfect S6 is out there. You just have to be patient and smart enough to find it.